Hey guys, it's Tessa Pendergraft with LiveWise Cooking again. I'm going to show you how to make whole wheat pita today, and we're going to use this ingredient, which is our whole wheat pastry flour. So this is a really cool ingredient because we can substitute it in place of using any white flour and in a partial whole wheat recipe. So this one is a soft wheat, so it has the texture that's going to be more similar to an all-purpose flour, but it has the nutritional benefits that we want from our whole wheat. So it's really neat, and we'll have lots of fun making it today. So here we go. So we're going to start our yeast. We have 2 teaspoons of active dry yeast. Go ahead and put that in. And then we have we have a teaspoon of honey, so we'll scrape that in. And then we'll add in a cup of lukewarm water. I like to put it in the microwave for about 30 seconds, just to get it a little warmer to make sure that it will activate the yeast. Okay, all of those ingredients are in. I'm going to give it a quick stir just to make sure that it's all incorporated. I'll probably scrape the bottom as well, because normally what you're supposed to do is actually sprinkle the yeast on top of the water, but I did the steps wrong. So it happens to the best of us. So it's been about 5 minutes. The yeast is pretty forgiving. It's starting to rise, or it's bubbly at least. So we'll go ahead and start adding in the rest of our ingredients. In place of the all-purpose flour and the wheat flour, we're going to use our whole wheat pastry flour. So I'll go ahead and mix that in, as well as our salt and our olive oil. So we'll just go ahead and start. And scrape the bowl and continue to mix this. So our dough is incorporated. I did want to note that I used the bread hook that's with my mixer. You can use whatever you prefer. If you like mixing by hand or a hand mixer, this is just what I prefer. It comes together easier. But anyway, since it's all incorporated, next we'll move it over to mat. I'll flour that, and then we'll knead it for 5 minutes. We'll just take this and turn it out on our floured mat. Still some pieces in here. And we'll just start kneading it. So I like using a mat because it gives you something to help prevent it from sticking to the countertop. Some people prefer just to use the countertop. That's perfectly fine as well. It's whatever your preference is. Really, our goal is just to kind of develop the gluten in the flour and get it incorporated well. Okay, so our dough has come together very nicely. I'm really excited about this. So we're going to take this ball of dough and we're going to put it back into our bowl, which I've sprayed with some nonstick spray, so it can rise for an hour. So we have to go ahead and put that in there. I also went ahead and tore some plastic wrap just to set over it, just to kind of keep it from drying out, and I'll tuck it in around on the bowl. I think they have some different recommendations in the recipe, but this is what I usually like to do, and you can even spray the actual dough as well, just to give it another layer of moisture. But I'm gonna put that on there so it's all comfortable in here, and I'm going to put it over in my oven in the proof setting. So I don't know what everybody's oven settings look like, but this is what mine look like. And if you've ever noticed this proof option here, go ahead and select it. And what it does is it will turn your oven on to about 100 degrees, and it's almost instantly ready to go. Dough is done proofing, so now we're going to take off the plastic wrap here. You can see it's about doubled in size. And our next step is just going to be to gently punch it down. So we'll deflate it a little bit. And then we'll take it out of here and put it on our mat and start to divide it. And then roll it out. So now starts the fun part of dividing it. So I'm going to divide it into thirds, or as best I can into thirds. And then each one of these will turn into 3 different parts, and we'll start rolling them out. So I'm just finishing up rolling out my, or rolling them up into balls, and then we'll start to actually roll them out into little circles and get those ready to be put on the pizza stone. That's what they recommended. And if you have a pizza stone, they're really convenient for things like this. If not, they also suggest that you can, or state that you can use a baking sheet. So they have different options in the recipe that I've selected. They're all rolled out, so I'll take 3 of them over to the stone and we'll get them started cooking. So I have them in here. I just started the timer. You can see they're already bubbling up. They say about 4 minutes, or when they start to separate in the middle, they kind of puff up, is when you want to take them out. You don't have to flip them. You just go ahead and take them out of the oven. They also recommend that you cover up the ones that are waiting to cook. So the plastic wrap that you pulled off of the dough earlier, if you chose that method, or you can cover them up with a damp towel, that works too. But the dough does dry out pretty quickly. So I would go ahead and get that covered like they recommend. And just to kind of backtrack, also when you have it in the bowl to rise, I would go ahead and spray the dough with a little bit of the cooking spray, just to help keep it moist, because it was a little dry on the outside. This is what 4 minutes looks like, so I'm going to go ahead and pull them out, and we'll move on to the next batch. Here's our finished product. We got 9 little pita breads out of it. I will say they didn't puff up as well as I had hoped or expected even, but I'm sure they're going to be just as delicious, and they'll go great with our next recipe. Join us then for our next one, and enjoy your pita.